Hello Bloomington, I'm Mayor Tim Busse, and this is the Council Minute for the week of December 7th. This week's Monday night council meeting covered the budget, a new council meeting schedule, and the recipients of the 2020 Omar Bonderud Human Rights Awards. Last week, I talked with you about the City Council's review of the proposed budget and tax levy for 2021. As a reminder, the Council was considering a tax levy increase of 2.7%, the lowest increase since 2012. This week, the City Council held a public hearing on the proposed tax levy and the budget. We had only 3 people testify at the public hearing. One asked about the funding for the motor vehicle office, and the other 2 expressed support for the proposed budget and indicated they'd be willing to pay even more in taxes to support work the city is doing in important areas like racial equity. After the public hearing, the City Council voted unanimously, 6-0, with Councilmember Lohman being absent, to approve the budget and the tax levy. I appreciated the comments of my colleagues on the council, who each expressed that not everything they wanted to see was in that budget. But the budget was a good compromise, and one that we could all support. For my part, I was strongly supportive of the budget recommendation from the city manager because of the 4 values at the core of the proposal. First, it honored the work of the Community Budget Advisory Committee. Those 9 residents put in an incredible amount of time to understand the budget, study the issues, engage with residents, and make some hard decisions about the priorities from a resident's perspective. Their recommendations carried a lot of weight with the City Council. The second and third values of this budget go hand in hand. To minimize the impact of tax increases on residents, especially in a year when so many are experiencing financial hardship, while at the same time limiting painful reductions in city services that many residents rely on for their quality of life. And fourth, this budget and the levy, they were prepared with an eye to the future. They anticipate that we may not be out of the woods with this economic downturn just yet. And the budget is designed to limit tax levy increases in 2022 and 2023. All of this is not to say that this budget process was easy. Quite the opposite, actually. Numerous difficult decisions had to be made to arrive at the city's 2021 budget, but one of the most difficult is the decision to close the motor vehicle office at the end of March in 2021. This will result in the layoff of 8 city employees. The financial performance of the motor vehicle office has been stressed over the past couple of years, in part because that the fees that the state allows local offices to keep for providing licensed services, they have fallen significantly behind what it takes and what it costs to provide those services. With numerous other competing demands for the city's limited resources, the City Council came to the difficult decision that it will no longer supplement the revenues of this service with local property tax dollars. Now, I want to be very clear that this is in no way a reflection of the hard work and this outstanding service put in by our motor vehicle employees who have persevered through the challenges of this pandemic while knowing that the closure of this office was being discussed. I know that many residents of Bloomington have appreciated the convenience and friendly service at Bloomington's motor vehicle office. Our staff will be working to see if a private office can get state approval to operate in Bloomington and keep that convenience factor. If it doesn't work out, licensing services are located nearby in both Richfield and at Southdale. I want to close this section by saying thank you. Thank you to those of you who took the time to thoughtfully and carefully participate in the community engagement sessions around the city's budget. Your voice is important, and what we heard from you absolutely matters. For quite some time now, the City Council has been discussing how we can improve the experience that people have at our council meetings and how we can make it easier for people to participate. This week, we acted on a proposal to change how we conduct our City Council meetings. The most noticeable change is that we will begin our meetings an hour earlier at 6 o'clock each Monday. An earlier start time means that we'll have fewer meetings where issues that are important to people are happening at an hour of the night that makes it inconvenient for people to watch or to participate. Too often this past year or two, our meetings have been going until 11 o'clock or even to midnight, and we just should not be conducting public business that late at night. Because of that, Council also directed staff to change our rules of procedure so that there is a hard stop on our council meetings so that they do not go past 11 o'clock. The other important change is to move public comment to the beginning of the meeting. If you, our residents, are going to make the effort to appear before the council and share your concerns, we want to respect you by making it clear and predictable when public comment will be accepted. So, after the Pledge of Allegiance and the approval of our agenda, we will have our public comment period, and it will happen before all of the other agenda items. That means you should be able to count on that time between about 6:05 and 6:25. If you don't want to stay around for anything else on the agenda, you can go about the rest of your busy life. And for those who aren't able to attend the council meeting at that 6 o'clock hour, you can always email us at city-council@bloomingtonmn.gov or leave a voicemail for us at the number on your screen. All of those messages are shared with the City Council prior to our council meetings. This change in our procedures continues the commitment our council made to transparency and engagement. At the beginning of the year, we moved all of our council meetings to the City Council chambers, and we began televising all of our meetings. You might recall that we used to hold our study meetings in a different room, and those weren't televised. The public's business should be accessible to you, the public. These changes are intended to improve your access and your experience participating in City Council meetings. One of my favorite recognitions every year is the presentation of the Omar Bonderud Award. The award is named for the first ever chair of the Bloomington Human Rights Commission and recognizes an individual, an organization, or a business that has made significant contributions toward ensuring the rights of people here in Bloomington. This year's honorees, Karam Law in the organizational category and Derringer Funches in the individual category, both have inspirational stories to tell, and we are very fortunate to have them here in Bloomington. Karam Law advocates for immigrants and their families. Mr. Funches is a paraprofessional in the Dean's office at Valley View Middle School. Our staff put together a pair of excellent videos to show how they're making a significant contribution to ensure the rights of people in Bloomington. If you see them around town, be sure to thank them for making Bloomington a better place for all of us. Be sure to check out the videos on the city's website and the YouTube channel, or just hang out here because we've added the videos to the end of this update and you can watch them then. Well, that's a wrap on this week's Council Minute. We'll see you next week. Stay safe, Bloomington.
One of the things that I'm trying to do is be a voice, show positivity, and show that for our young males in this building, our young African American males, that you can be a positive piece, you can have an impact, and definitely not be afraid. I think the biggest thing for me is I look at myself as a role model. I'm a father first. I have 3 children, and I have a 19-year-old son. I try to be a positive fixture, not just in his life, but into those who I come in contact with. While here, I interact with the students and I try to lead by example. It's not very easy at times, and with the last 6 months, it has definitely been a new experience, not just for them, but for myself as well. After the George Floyd case, I felt I needed to speak up, not just for myself, but for my son. I needed for him to be able to be comfortable as a young African American male in society today. I wanted him to not be hampered or hindered in speaking up. And so the best way I felt that could happen is by me being able to speak up for him, or more so speak up for myself. I went to the administration of my building and ran some ideas by them, and they supported me with that and thus gave me the confidence to speak up. And there are things that Bloomington Public Schools will be doing in the future to better make people feel more accepted, whether it's with the staff, whether it's students, and as the community as a whole. I had the opportunity to dispel myths and stereotypes that society has put on Black men, and I'm not trying to be a martyr, but what I am trying to do is show that I can make a difference. And if I can be a positive piece for our young men and a positive influence with our young women in the building, then I will continue to do that, because I want people to see not just the good, in people, but the positives and even though we all have weaknesses, our weaknesses can be a strength as well, because that is how we get better. When I did hear that I had been nominated and that I was receiving this award, it's very humbling. I have been working with youth for the better part of my life, and to be recognized for my efforts, it means a lot. I'm very honored that the people that I do work with value what I do bring. This is not something that I take lightly. It is a responsibility, and it is something that I definitely, although receiving this award, it's not something that I'm going to stop doing. I will continue trying to be the best me, the best person that I can be.
We do immigration law, and our clients are families that are trying to be reunited. We represent employers that sponsor work visas for their personnel. We help longtime permanent residents of the United States become citizens of this country, and we also help individuals who are facing possible harm or hardships if they are returned to their home country to be able to potentially stay here. I have been doing this work for 28 years. For the last 25 years, we've been working here in Bloomington. And I will tell you that we've seen lots of changes in immigration over those years, and there isn't a day I come to work where I don't feel like there is something new and exciting and potentially stressful to greet us. But we do enjoy the work we do here, and we work hard.
The reason why I'm passionate about this type of work, and specifically immigration law, is that the type of work that I do oftentimes is work with asylees and individuals that are coming to the United States in very desperate situations. And that work is, not only is it hard, but it's very rewarding when it goes in favor of the individual. The reason that I'm also passionate about what I do is that I work with a dynamic group of people here at Karam Law that are also passionate about what they do. And that passion is definitely contagious. And when an individual wins a case or is successful in being able to stay here or bring their family here, we all celebrate. We do this work because we feel that also that we're supporting the medical workers. Many of our clients and many of the immigrant community are medical workers, but they're also bus drivers, and they're teachers, and they're the IT professionals that allow people to be able to work at home. And so the work that we do just has a ripple effect onto the rest of the community around us. And so although COVID has slowed things and made it different, it certainly hasn't changed our passion for what we do here.
Honestly, I feel very humbled by the city of Bloomington recognizing what we are doing here. The idea that immigrants are deserving of an equal platform to be entering our workforce and to be together with their families, creating strong families and strong communities together, and our city of Bloomington valuing the work we do is really rewarding, and it fulfills us. And the people that come here to work every day, they come here with a passion for helping others. And to recognize that through our Omar Bonderud Award is such a great reward for us.
It's humbling, of course. We're grateful for the recognition to our immigrant community, for sure.